remedy fest. All right, so this is how the next 4 years are going to go. If, in fact, Donald Trump becomes president, what you're going to see is an explosion of entrepreneurialism, but it's going to be software entrepreneurialism. It's not just going to be for Silicon Valley. I was engaged in all that. Back to where we are here. A little bit of people in a rush here. Funny. You can observe a lot about society by the way people drive. Some people are timid. Some people are impatient. Some people are, well, they're either timid or impatient. Back to what I was saying, Donald Trump and entrepreneurialism, but it would be like everybody gets to be, the next Mark Zuckerberg. That's what, so how do I say that? Because if this guy doesn't like Gensler, then, what do you call it? Then everybody gets a chance at starting crypto. However, this guy's like his own Gensler because good morning. I guess everyone's here. Yeah. He's like his own Gensler because he's questioning the financialization of meme coins. I don't know if he said meme coin by name, but that's what he's meaning. Without realizing that a token in and of itself is a meme that just has functionality due to infrastructural acceptance, just like the American dollar, which is just printed willy-nilly. So here's him in his own words proving my point, in my opinion, that crypto will essentially get articulated structure, but he might come down on meme coins, or it might just be harder to make coins, but I think it's a characteristic of the network that cannot really be undone, but it could require that if you do a meme coin or if you create something out of nothing, you have to provide some kind of proof of a minimum viable utility, MVU. And this is where people are going to get into McLuhan again, because they're going to like, well, it's a community and people can talk about things that the community's interested in, and it's also a marketplace. Whatever the bullshit lie is, that is a minimum viable utility, is a marketplace connected with a meme coin.
People, I think, should have the right to decide. And if the new mode of acquiring information is fundamentally biased, I think it's a far bigger threat to democracy.
The new mode of acquiring information. What does that mean, the new mode of acquiring information? Is he referring to the telegraph? What is he talking about?
See, than almost anything that's called a threat to democracy in 2024, right? So I really, really worry about that dynamic. And you can make the same argument, on any search related to Donald Trump. Again, you may have different substantive views from me about what the right answer is, but I want the American people to be able to decide this stuff. And so, my bias on these questions is fundamentally in the direction of openness, of providing more information, not providing less information. And the one worry that I have on this sort of question about tech monopolists and how they influence the public conversation is that sometimes I worry that some of the people across the spectrum who I tend to agree with on competition policy, that maybe their instinct is to be a little bit too pro-censorship. And I think that's the wrong direction to go in. Let me take a sip here. And then one final observation I'll make just about this sort of intersection between competition and innovation, something I care a lot about. So if there's a person within the Biden administration, I get, obviously the FTC is an independent agency, but Lena Khan is the person that I would point to as the best person, in my view, within the Biden administration. If there's a candidate for worst person, in my view, at least in terms of my substantive degrees.
Actually, I won't need to fast forward it too much. He only says that about Lena Khan. He says he doesn't like her, or says he likes her more than Gary Gensler. That's how I would frame it.
Disagreements, I'm sure he's like a nice guy, is Gary Gensler. Okay, so Gary Gensler is sort of the complete opposite of my view. There are two problems that I have with Gary, one of which is that I think he wants to inject politics way too much into the actual business of securities in the United States of America. But in some ways, the more fundamental issue, or at least the most relevant issue for this particular conference is the approach that Gary has taken to regulating blockchain and crypto seems to be almost the exact opposite of what it should be. And I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but the question the SEC seems to ask in regulating crypto is this a token with utility? And if it's a token with utility, then they seem to want to ban it. And if it's a token without utility, they don't seem to care. I almost think we should be the opposite here, right? I worry about financialization. I worry about, frankly, whether a lot of the crypto stuff is fundamentally fake. But if a token actually has utility,
it almost makes like Gary Gensler the new, favorite politician or favorite advisor, favorite political advisor, favorite whatever his, what is he, the chair of the SEC? Like, he now becomes the sort of anti-hero of the GameStop, roaring kitty crowd, because he's the one saying that even though they don't make meme coins, it is mimetic in nature. And if it's mimetic, then it's a chat room effect, more or less. And, a subset of the network effect would be the chat room effect, more than so. I wasn't paying close enough attention to realize that Gary Gensler, he doesn't care about meme coins. He doesn't find meme coins a threat. Well, it proves that really doesn't understand the potential of meme coins. Not to say that he doesn't understand that threat of meme coins, but the potential of meme coins is that simply that they're accepted as a token in an existing utility. That's the difference. You know, like you go to an arcade, you use tokens, you get 5 tokens for $1. Those tokens are useful in the arcade. They're useless outside of the arcade. Now the internet is the arcade is the entirety of the potential of the internet, and the tokens are useful on the internet. You know, it's just the network effect. If you're not following, is that 5 tokens in real life, human scale, for $1 to play video games, only good at the arcade, but you do get that 5th token if you really like video games, so there's the utility. Now the utility is that it's simply just transmissible on the internet to exchanges for other tokens. That's the function. At the very least, that's the utility of meme coins, is that once they get accepted on an exchange, you can swap them. So all meme coins inherently have utility. I don't understand what people don't understand about that, other than that, you know, to be flippant, people are dumb, and I include myself in that, but I'm the least dumb on certain things. This is McLuhan-esque effects of technology and seeing the innovation at traditional human scale, from screen scale, contemporary screen scale, as opposed to traditional human scale. I tend to see the implications in it.
It's the sort of thing that, you know, by all means regulate it, by all means be careful about, you know, how consumers interact with it, but you don't want to just get rid of this stuff. And here's where I really, really worry about this, is a lot of the newest challengers to social media, the social media incumbents of 2024, are going to require some blockchain technology to make their business. Maybe they'll require a token that supports verification. There are all of these ways in which the companies, when I talk to sort of friends who are still in the VC industry, the companies that are most exciting to them, they're doing actual things in communications in the 21st century, in 2024, I should say. Those companies very often rely on high utility tokens to do things like verification. Well, if we're not making it possible to do verification, then we're going to make it really hard to challenge the existing incumbents in the space. And I think that would be a huge mistake. We have to be honest with ourselves about how much we can do through regulation and how much we can do through antitrust. I mean, look, if we're being honest with ourselves, as much as I think that we should be more assertive in breaking up some existing technology incumbents, that isn't going to happen, whoever is president, because there are a lot of barriers to that, right? Litigation's expensive. So we need to make that easier. We also need to recognize that one of the best ways, I think, to disrupt the existing digital ecosystem is to promote new entrants, and not to have an SEC. I think that is very, very harmful towards that effort, because I think the current SEC is. And the final thought that I'll leave you on, I don't know, Roy, how much time do I have? 10 minutes? Okay. So should I take a few questions? Is that okay? Okay. The final point that I'll make is that if you go back to sort of the fundamental arguments that were made in the Sherman and Clayton era of antitrust. Sherman, by the way, was senator from the state of Ohio. Teddy Roosevelt arguably was the most famous Republican in the 21st century, the 20th century.